everyone, it's Charlotte here from Online English with Charlotte. Today we are going to be talking all about 4 confusing words: trip, travel, journey and way. In this video we will be discussing the different meanings of these 4 words and we will finish the class with a quiz. Okay, let's start with trip. A trip is when we start somewhere, we go somewhere else, we do something there, and then we go back to where we started. Let's take a look at an example. On Sunday, we went on a day trip to the beach. This means I started at my house, I went to the beach, I stayed at the beach for a while, and then I went back to my house. The length of the trip does not matter. It could be less than a day, it could be a year. The time is not important. The most important thing is that you start and finish in the same place. So we could have things like a shopping trip, which maybe lasts a couple of hours, unless you're a shopaholic, or we could go on a trip around the world for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, for example. Some other common examples are things like a business trip, a road trip, a trip abroad, a school trip. Let's move on to journey. So the word journey is not focusing on the destination, but it's focusing on the movement from A to B. So, for example, the journey took 5 hours. The traffic was terrible, so the journey took a long time. With all of these, we are focusing on the movement from A to B rather than where we're going or what we are doing. Quick note, journey can also be used when we're not talking about travelling, but instead talking about learning or self-development, self-improvement. For example, I am about a year into my language learning journey, meaning that you have started learning English and you're continuing, you're in the process of learning English. You are on a journey with English. You could also experience a spiritual journey, maybe. Okay, moving on to way. Way is used more with directions, a method, a route, that kind of thing. It is often used in questions. For example, which way should I go, left or right? Is this the correct way to do it? So in all of these, it's meaning which road to take, which direction to go in. It doesn't have to be literally with directions on a map, for example, but the method or the route. And the last one, everyone's favourite one, but in fact we don't use it so often as most students think, and this is travel. Typically, we use it less than when you translate it from other languages. If we use travel as an adjective or a verb, fantastic. If we use travel as a noun, it is not very common. Yes, it is possible, but only in certain situations. If we are talking very generally about travel, it is okay. For example, we could say travel is necessary for the economy. Perfect. It's absolutely fine. However, if you are talking about your own experiences, you are not going to use travel. So it doesn't typically go with things like my, your, his, her. It's often not the case because instead we will use trip. Trip is the word that you are wanting. So you could say, my trip to Morocco was fantastic, but we wouldn't say my travel to Morocco was fantastic. However, if you use travel as a verb, it's totally fine. For example, last year I travelled to Morocco. Great. Or if we use travel as an adjective, for example, things like a travel agent, travel card, travel brochure, Things like this, absolutely fine. The only problem is when we use it as a noun. So if you're using it as a noun, just think carefully, is this the best option? Okay, now it's quiz time. There are going to be 5 questions and you must fill in the blanks with the correct word. Sometimes more than one word will work in the gap. That is totally fine. It might depend a little bit on the context. Okay, let's go. Number 1. There are 2 to get to my house. You can take this road or that road. Way. Number 2. Did you book your through a agent? Trip and travel. Number 3. We better check for tyres before we leave. It's going to be a long journey or trip. It depends. If you're talking only about the movements, the drive, then it would be journey. But if maybe you're talking about the whole holiday, it would be a trip. Number 4. Would you like to go to South Africa? Trip. And number 5. I had an amazing shopping. I found everything that I was looking for and more. Trip. Again, because I went to my house, I came back to my house. How did you get on? Did you get them all correct? Let me know in the comments below. Also, see if you can write your own sentences using trip, journey, way and travel. You can write them in the comments below and I will check them for you. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you found this video useful. I look forward to seeing you next week for a new video. So until then, bye for now.